JM Race Engines is a new business in north central Missouri that have you covered from top to bottom for all your engine needs. Purpose-built engines with the correct amount of clearance will get you to the end of any show, whether it's your local shows or on the national level, where you can't be let down by your equipment. With top-level professional machine work to all engines, your choice of build is totally up to you. JM Race Engines will give you the confidence to push your equipment to the max while giving you your preferred horsepower to boot. From LS builds all the way to your exotic level small blocks that your imagination can only dream of, they have you covered.
But it doesn't stop there. They are also a speed shop that carries a variety of heads, carburetors, intakes, plug wires, helmets, and other safety equipment, and the best VP fuel on the market today to take you to the top. So if you're wanting mild build to wild build, let JM Race Engines help take you there. Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast, I got robbed last week.
You did get robbed. Did you get robbed of your integrity as well?
No, thanks, Wichita.
Wichita, the hole in the center of Kansas.
That was fun. Getting up, getting ready to go to work. Drive around the front of the hotel and your toolbox comes up.
And takes all your shit.
Every bit of it. Dude, brand new Milwaukee grease gun. Hadn't run a tube of grease through it yet. Half-inch drive impact. Had taken a tire off with it one time.
They got so bad, they stole his pump filter off his exchange tank.
Yeah, off my transfer tank. They took the whole fucking filter setup off of it. That was cool. Not the hose.
Well, at least somebody maybe that throws out that they could be working.
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
But the cops did a whole lot of good.
Oh, yeah. Fuck them, by the way. I think I expressed my feelings toward them, too. Fucking 9 of them walking around the hotel, and I'm like, hey, can you take a report? Oh, you got to call this number. We're busy. I'm like, you don't look like you're doing fuck all. I walk back into the hotel and I'm like, hey, do you have cameras out there? They're like, no. I was like, fuck, why would you? $115 a night, you can't put up a fucking trail cam?
Oh, lovely, lovely Wichita.
That was a decent hotel, I thought.
Was.
Yeah, I'm staying at fucking Hampton now.
Was a decent hotel.
Ridiculous.
We had some shows this weekend, dude.
Terre Haute, Indiana.
River City Rampage. Wow.
I don't know why they call that an 80s and newer heat.
Okay.
They need to just call it a Crown Vic class.
There was a couple metrics, wasn't there?
I have no clue. I didn't see them.
I think 1 or 2 maybe.
Yeah, they weren't worth talking about. Evidently.
They wasn't there at the end. Let's put it that way.
Because that was just a wave of Fords.
Yes. They started on Friday night. Everybody knows they moved it from, what the hell's the name of that town?
Henry,
Illinois, to Terre Haute, Indiana. Last year had a lot of track issues at the Henry deal, and I don't know if that was a major change, but this thing went to a racetrack in Terre Haute, and wow.
Well, okay, so they got all the rain.
Yes. Little on Friday and all of it yesterday.
And the track still held together decent. But it's a racetrack. That shit's hard packed.
Yep.
We had a bunch of buddies running that show.
Oh, yeah.
I
Bunch.
mean, a shitload.
Big long tube header
Oh, yeah.
teams and
Turnouts that were super gay.
Turnouts. Why the fuck he went to turnouts, I don't know.
Well, he's ran, 4 derbies already this year?
1, 2, 3. 3 or 4.
3 or 4. I think that he's been hit like 1 too many times.
I think Lawrence hit him one too many times, I think.
Because turnouts are super good.
He'll be running fucking window nets on it next.
Yeah. I was waiting for it. You noticed that those turnouts weren't on there when he ran next, right?
When he ran next?
Yeah. The
When he ran the feature?
yeah.
No.
Those turnouts were not on there.
Friday nights, 8 heats of 10, 80 cars. Took Mad Dog at least one if they were worthy, sometimes two. Then top 3 got their spot. That track was huge for Saturday. You had all the real estate. So many guys are so respectful in this sport. We were just talking about it before we hit the go button. I'm not sure if it was the 5th or 6th heat. Justin Worsig was in that heat.
Wow.
Michael Patton was in that heat. Patty. And they were trying to get this old boy out because his shit was hurt. Mr. Worsig took it on himself to junk his own shit to get this guy out.
Uh-huh.
If you want it, you got him all night long.
And junk his shit, did he?
Yes. So, Patty and the other guy that was top 3, they saw how bad Justin's car was compared to what they had. They broke their shit off so Justin could have his all night long because they knew he was going to need it.
Very much so.
That shit is cool when people do stuff like that. We saw Mr. PJ Snar on Friday night in Mr. Brandon Palmer's car.
Yep.
We saw Adam Lemonager with turnouts.
Yep.
He's going to kick one of us in the nuts. You know that, right?
I'm looking to make sure that I'm not
Seeing
wrong.
shit.
But that right there, look over the side of that too. That's Adam's car. No rips.
That is not turnouts.
Yeah.
He just maybe tried something a little bit different. Or Bando talked him into
I'm
doing
going to
it.
say that was a bet between him and Bando. And he lost.
But the action on Friday night, dudes, wow.
Love that they pull Mad Dogs. Don't matter how many.
Mm-hmm. You drive them. You drive like a retard. You're gonna get pulled for it, and that's cool.
Gage.
Oof.
Holy shit,
And then Mason turned around in the same heat and got one too.
dude. Dude. I knew as soon as that guy drove up in the back end of Mason's car.
It was.
I was like, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, yeah. We talked about that. Go to these big shows like this, and you're not sure who's running with each. But you would think if they got the same exact headers, same color, you probably need to think about your
At least watch out.
life decisions.
Which I understand the dude was trying to get back,
He's trying to get. Yeah, he's.
Well, he
trying
thought
to
he had him.
get
He
back.
thought he
Yeah.
had him stuck.
Yeah,
I can guarantee you that. But there was too many people left on the track. Like I've always said, if you feel like you're getting team drove, you should have brought more friends.
Yep. Yeah. Because he got fucked all the way up. But that's them guys. That whole team. Look at that. Gage, Mason,
Cordell,
Colt. Then you got Walker Henderson coming down from Iowa. You got Spencer Harrington coming down from Iowa. And then,
Okay, so Walker got plumb the fuck out of there. I'm almost positive that was scored as a field goal. Because he didn't get kicked out. He got kicked right the fuck out.
he got booted.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen one do that.
Well, we were watching at the house, and I wonder if they'll let him keep going if he can get back over the blocks.
Correct. And I actually thought they were going to let him, and they were like, no, you stay right here.
Yeah.
Because old boy knew it was coming because the guy who hit him, he was already had his hand out the window
Yeah.
doing the let's get it. And get it he got.
Yes, very much so. Well, and then it wasn't what? 3 minutes later, the next one headed over.
Yep.
Same heat.
Yep. Spence tried to
Yeah.
do the I'm out. Cordell saved him,
Yep.
pulled him back in with no steering.
I don't think that was more than broken steering because it looked like there was a tire laying out on the bottom. I don't know if there was a little lower control issue.
I think it was a whole lot of 03 issues. That is the thing. Those dudes, I mean, they're all taking 03s and shit over there.
How about the core support delete kits that were given out? And you know what's shitty about that? Yes, it does do damage. Mm-hmm. But it does way more to my psyche than it does to my actual car because it takes forever to fix that.
Unless you got a spare.
Yeah, because have you ever tried to pull fenders out and get them back in and get body mounts put back in where body mounts were ripped? It sucks.
Dudes had core supports
Wipe
that
them
I
off
swear
that
were
shit.
almost touching the carburetor.
Oh, yeah.
Laid, I mean, completely over flat.
We watched body mounts rip out of bodies and frames hit the ground. And more than one.
Yes. Rails just dragging.
Yeah.
Just dragging.
And it always amazes me whenever that happens because whenever you're in the car and that happens, that Ricky Bobby scene's got to be going through your mind. It's like, I felt like I was floating on a spaceship. Because you're just in that bitch.
You're just, damn it.
Well, I mean, you can feel the flex in the body at that point because it's not the rails are what stiffens that car up.
Mm-hmm. What is cool is that he gives you, if you go out and you do mad dog shit, you get it all night. You win that heat, you get it all night. That's a little bit changed from what he has done in the past.
Yes,
Because usually
he
just lets you have it all night. Team no sleep.
Right.
But he's rewarding you. I say rewarding you to let it have it all night, but fuck that. I'm old, and I don't want to stay up all night.
Me neither.
And there's a lot of people younger than me that don't want to stay up all night.
Well, and that's me. Big D.
Big D rolling by the house.
But hey, let's talk about this. The Godfather. Dog walking that heat.
That is what I would say polar opposites. Because Craig is so calm, cool, calculated.
Dude, I bet he never broke a sweat.
No, I think if you've got one of them loop meters on him with heart rate, I don't think his heart rate
See him
was
get out of
over
the car? 95. He got out of it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up.
I won. I'm the Godfather.
Wake
Fuck
up,
you.
my piss excellence.
Dude, I'm telling you. And I watched him. He was watching, the two that come out of that heat that were Mad Dogs. He watched it. He made sure that if he could help him, he'd push one that direction or he'd back up out of the way. Or dude's head's on a swivel. The precision driving that went through that fucking heat was just crazy.
He is known to, what I would say, calm, cool, and collected.
Did you see it? Did you watch him set the trunk on that car? Mm-hmm. That whole heat.
Yep.
I would say 15 minutes of that heat was him
Backwards.
making the back of that car
Yep.
where he wanted it at.
Yep.
Which was less work that he had to do later.
Or Max or Chet or
Right,
Adam's
right.
work later.
Yeah.
I think Craig is at the level where Craig doesn't have to do shit unless he wants to.
Well, and I was watching and how he finished it. I was like, man, I said, that poor son of a bitch doesn't know this derby's over yet, but
Yep.
it's over. Mm-hmm. And I watched him. He'd let him pull forward a little bit, and as soon as that dude hit reverse, he'd shove him up in the corner.
Yep.
He'd pull forward where it would move it out just a little bit. He'd back up. Craig shoved him in just a little bit tighter.
Yep. Knowing he didn't have any steering.
No, not a drop.
So I'm going to get you over here.
Yep. He's like, I'm not going to hurt my car doing
Yeah,
this.
and you're hosed.
Yeah, and he did.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to break this shit off, and then I'm going to let my boys have it all night long.
Yeah.
So, moving. Every heat was good. Every heat on Friday night was
Way good.
good heats. Especially with that type of build, because that shit is pretty damn stock. that is probably less than the stock that we like.
Yeah, it is.
But they let you get a good bumper.
And it works out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it actually works. And, man, you can tell the guys that have been building to that rule set for a few years compared to the ones that showed up trying it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guarantee if some of those guys that tried it this year and, had some funky shit happen, I bet they come back. If they come back next year, they've got a different car.
Yes.
I mean, not a different car, but a different built car.
Look, and if you watched it, taking what Steven is saying is because if you look at Colt's ran that thing for several years. His car, Gage's car, Cordell's car, Mason's car, they all look the same.
Identical.
Same kind of trunk
Yep.
tuck that they did. Ride heights were pretty much the same.
Spacers.
The
wheels,
tire
setup. Dude, I'm telling you that after they, because they're not changing that rule set.
No.
Why would you?
Fuck yeah. Get almost 100 cars. Why are you going to change anything?
You don't.
Thing?
And my cousin and I, like, he was there at the house last night watching. He's like, we should have went to this show. He's like, this is a good son of a bitch. I was
Yes.
like, yeah, dude, I'm telling you. Well, since we're not promoting anymore, like, that was always an issue.
Yep.
And then your golf tournament stuff.
Which I just told you that I've already got with the city and the golf board and told them we are moving it.
Yeah, that's
We're moving that shit a week or two so we can get over there.
Well, let's jump into the youth class. A little chaos.
Oh, little chaos. I figured it'd be Party Mode Junior or something like that, but little chaos. Keaton Wayne, Snar.
Not scared of the skinny fella.
I know. With the little zoomy header,
Yeah.
how he's got it.
Looks like we owe him a set of wraps.
Think we owe him a set of door wraps, and little shit got a bumper out of the deal and
Some cash money.
some cash monies because everybody and their dog jumped on board for the youth.
Have you seen the support? Man, we've been talking about it for a while.
$1,000 here, $2,000 here, $2,000
$250
here, 500 here, 1,000 here, 250 here, 500 there. I mean, it just went and went and went, and that is so badass. Especially when it's for the youth.
I agree.
Youth. So let's finish this part up,
Okay.
and because we got some more youth shit to talk about
Yep.
before we dig on to the other show that we took in last night as well.
Yeah.
Give it up to Little Meyer
Yeah.
Saturday. Dave won it last year.
Yep.
His boy won it this year. Is it Dylan? Is that right?
I think so.
Mr. Brandon Palmer in second. Mr. Adam Lemonadger on third. Adam
Drove the wheels off of it.
literally. Literally.
Soft track. Missing a back wheel or back tire for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And then Brandon Palmer, we've talked about. Brandon Palmer.
Yeah.
If youth ever
He's going to be there at the end.
sit there and say, oh, he can't drive, come by and I'm going to punch you right in the fucking throat.
Yeah, because it don't matter if you like him or not.
He's a bad, bad man.
drive.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
Well, let's do it.
We're going to make a phone call. Be right back.
Since Justin has been on board with us at Hard Nose, we have figured out how much Broadhead Decals means to the sport of demolition derby. His great quality parts are seen from coast to coast and everywhere in between.
But he can do more than just derby products. Your everyday business may need some pep in its step with new banners or stickers. And just give him an idea and let him run with it. Whether it's business related or just want to look badass in the winner circle, let Broadhead Decals work for you.
We do. Triple B's Tees offer custom shirts and logo designs for all your apparel and merchandise needs, offering a variety of shirts, hats, hoodies, tumblers, and koozies. Triple B's will work with you one-on-one to personalize and perfect your logo. With over 5 years in the business, 20 years in the sport, they live for Demolition Derby.
Chunk and his crew can bring your imagination to realization with zero limitations. So for all your badass tees, choose Triple B's.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just said that we'd make a phone call, especially on some youth stuff. So we have Mr. Mark Elliott, and we are going to talk about Youth Expo 2025. Mr. Mark, what is going on, sir?
Working on the expo.
That's kind of like an all-year project anymore, isn't it?
Well, it's evolving. So in times past, it would usually start up in the fall-ish towards the winter, but we were always, let me back up. From 2020 when it started until 2024 and now 5, it's always been like the first weekend in April, right there around Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2025, at the facility that we have it at the Preble County Fairgrounds in Eaton, Ohio, which is where I live, there's a horse congress, and long story not long, we couldn't get in until after the first weekend in May. So that being one of a few reasons that we actually just considered canceling it this year, because you know the drill, man. River City is last night, Greggsville's last night, the Bash is at the end of May. The Bash is an hour from Eaton, Ohio. So it's just like, no matter where you are on the schedule, you're always going to be on top of or right underneath of something or somebody else. And the Bash being the Bash, it was just like, man. And you know, we still may find that out the hard way, that this was a terrible idea, but it was either May 10th or it just doesn't see fit for 2025.
Either May 10th or not at all.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna hurt it. I've heard a lot of chatter, and they're talking about the expo.
Yep.
Good.
So
That's
let's
good, because go ahead.
Let's break that expo down a little bit, Mark. What exactly is it for all of our listeners?
Well, the goal is that, let me back up, and I don't want to take you too far down that old country road, but I think it's appropriate. In 2020, the year of COVID, when Demolition Derby darn near shut down for a year, Casey Smith with Smith Metalworks out of Mercer County, Pennsylvania, decided to invite people to his shop, to his actual business property. And it was the idea of an expo, and a lot of people may not know, but Casey is also a part of a business that something to do with trucking, towing, building flatbeds, whatever that entails. The point is that they're involved in expos with that. So he thought, man, how cool would that be to do something like that for Demolition Derby? So, you know, not just having part vendors, but just inviting anybody who's anything in Demolition Derby to his property to showcase what they've got. And it was pretty awesome. And none of us had our mask on, but we survived. We made it. We made it through. But so fast forward, we spent 3 years in Pennsylvania, and Casey stood on the roof of a car and told 150 exhibitors standing there around the car that he's done. Like, not as this has been a bad experience and I don't want to be a part of it anymore. It was too taxing on his business and family and all these things. And he encouraged all of us to carry the torch.
Yes.
Well, and none of us carried the torch. Nobody's like, I'm picking that ball up and running with it, because it's a lot, and everybody's already got a lot on their plate. So continue to fast forward into the next year, what would be year 4. It was like, we got to do something. And when I say we, like Casey Smith, Frankie Guy, Jeff Schumann, and they're talking to me about it like, man, we don't want to let this thing die. You know, Casey, you know, any Derby driver, we say one thing and we think another a month later, but it's like, man, this thing is so awesome. I don't just want to let it die, but I just can't do it. We can't do it here. And then here I come, and here Preble County comes, because from day one, I was already a part of it with Casey side by side, even though it was a Smith Metalworks event. You know, I'm there making it, just being a huge part of the event. So it's like we already had somewhat of a recipe. We just needed a place.
Yes.
And I'm like, man, we got a place out here. And next thing you know, Frankie Guy and Casey Smith drove to Eaton, Ohio, and he fell in love with the facility and the Preble County Fair Board, which has been great to work with. And next thing you know, we're having an expo in Eaton, with the fear of absolutely failing for moving something that wasn't already just this hugely successful event, but it was really cool, and moving it 5 hours west. So it worked. It was freaking awesome. So it's like, hell yeah. So we came back year 5 and did it again last year, and had another successful event. So this is like it's like the staircase of challenge. So bear with me. So fast forward to the end of last year. We were actually it wasn't the end of last year, it was the beginning of this year, but Casey Smith just continues to grow in his life and on a personal side of things, as he, you know, has plans, and I'll hear about it if I'm sharing too much, but I don't care. Right? Like, what do you do? we got time for no secrets.
That's right.
He's recently became a state constable. He is in process of, like, his transition out of those businesses through his sons and his family, and like, he's got a lot going on. So here we are again. Casey's like, I don't have the bandwidth or the passion to carry this on. Now let's ice the cake. Here comes Mark Elliott at, I don't know, a midlife crisis, which I thought I already had in 2019. But I really did. But when I announced last winter that I'm retiring, I mean, Derek, you and I talked in Pike County. Like, last year was a big year for me.
Yes.
That I'm thinking, like, I'm turning the page. I'm going to be a grandpa now. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I'm going to close down this announcing business. I'm going to close down this point series. The expo never even crossed my mind, because it wasn't my business. It was just something I was a part of. So then fast forward another couple months, and then it's like, well, not a couple months. A couple months felt like it was actually probably a couple weeks. But then I started getting questions. Well, what's going to happen with the expo? I'm like, I have no idea, because that's not even on my radar.
Yep. And
so, as you know, that you talk about stars aligning, as Casey kind of wants to transition out, to phase out, and then here I am thinking, like, what crazy decision did I just make? And then kind of went on a whim before I even decided to, okay, 2 months later, I'm not going to retire from announcing. I decided to help carry on the expo as a piece of sanity. Like, it wasn't if, it was when this moment came that, like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I just closed a major door and chapter on my life, and now I miss it. So I'm thinking the expo I'm going to need that in May more than I've ever needed anything in my life, is what my mindset was when myself, Jeff Schumann, Frankie Guy, and Chance Smith, again, sharing sensitive information here. Casey wants out, or wants way less, and Mark says, we're not doing this without SMW, because SMW started. So it's either Chance Smith is in or it's Mark Elliott's out, because I'm not carrying on somebody else's dream. I love it, but it's not mine. So right, wrong, or indifferent, that was my mindset. Now we're to real time. January 1st, we start this LLC, Demolition Derby Expo LLC, and it feels like we start from scratch. It feels like we have a rinse and repeat event that we've already got the recipe for, that we've done for 5 years, but all of a sudden for the last 5 months, it feels like we started over, because everything had to be transferred into this business. Everything, insurance, like all these things, God love Casey, that he either took care of or he didn't, and we never knew. Right? I mean, let's be real. It never mattered, because us three, we just showed up to help Casey and his family. And now it's like, now this is your business, and if it fails, it's on you. If it succeeds, it's because of your efforts. And here we are, man. It is it's a week away, and although excited, I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't stressed to the gills.
Well, I'm not sure Casey knew exactly what he was starting. I think he knew what it could be. But, with this expo, you've got all these vendors, you've got, parts, and you've got training. I'm going to call them classroom, teaching with these kids and these cadets that you guys call them. And then these kids and these cadets get to go derby, so you're getting some schooling plus recess all at the same time.
Well, yeah, it's you nailed me to the wall there. I barely answered your question. So yes, it's the place where anybody that loves or has anything Demolition Derby that they can showcase, to bring it under one roof and ditch the drama at the door. It's not welcome, and it's not welcome in the parking lot. This is a place for paid exhibitors, and it's not a swap meet. It's not a yard sale out in the yard. Now, you take the educational piece of it. You take the cadets. There was never a derby, because we've always said we can't. This has to stay at Expo. It cannot. It's like everything just kind of works its way, and then now we have a derby. It has to stay at Expo. But on year 3, the last year it was in Pennsylvania, we're like, how in the piss can we have these people in this place on this property and not crash some damn cars?
It just wouldn't be prudent without it.
Right. Talk about a waste of an opportunity.
Yes.
That kind of. So then, like, again, everything's timing and stars aligning. At that same time, Casey Smith had started the Smith Metalworks Youth Driving Camp, which he did for a couple years, where he built a freaking couple cabins on his property and built a derby track, and had the Iceman and a few others that went through that, and they did so that's kind of, then it's like, okay, well, let's have breakout sessions, let's educate people, and then And the idea of cadets is because every derby has, not every, a lot of derbies have youth demolition derby, and it's not black and white. Everybody has their own flavor of it and their own opinion of how it needs to be. What we've always stuck to is we're looking for first timers, and if they're not first timers, we want them to have less than 3 runs, and we don't want it to be that they won the freaking bash or these kids. We call it exhibition, but it's a derby. There's a winner and there's hardware, and they get compensated. It's a derby, but we want it to be a teaching point so that on next Saturday, those kids are expected to have those cars there in the morning, lined up single file on the trailer, ready for inspection. And then at 10 a.m., they're to sit in the first breakout session, which this year our focus is safety. And we're going to have a few derby drivers that have been there, done it, talk to these kids on a high level, not about this jack is rated for X amount of tonnage. No, this jack will kill you. Don't put this jack in the pits when it's muddy without putting something under it. You know, all these things that you just can't trust that their dad, their grandpa, their uncle, or their buddy has showed them the right way. And if we talk to 50 kids and we tell them 150 things, and one kid hears one thing that saves one finger, then we've done our job.
Yes. You know, because we have talked about how this sport has progressed so much. So now what you guys are doing, you're taking these younger kids, cadets. These cars are going faster than they've ever gone. The impacts are just crazy, insane. So many people bypass the safety aspect. I mean, I've got a guy sitting here with me that's never put a fire jacket on, but guess what? He's going to have a fire jacket this year. You know,
he ain't alone.
No, you know, it used to be cut off and jeans and boots, and that's all you got.
Right. That's Preble County. And trust me, when I rolled this out and said this is what our focus was going to be, I led with, I need this the most. I need this the most because I got an open face helmet hanging there. It's sleeveless shirts. It's don't be a, you know what? It's like at the end of the day, it just ain't worth the risk of watching this poor kid get out in Brookfield, Pennsylvania. I'll never forget it. Jim Youngblood dove in this car, which I can still see, and I'll never forget it, engulfed in flames and drug this guy out. How he got him out, I have no idea. When that guy got out and raised his hands up to the crowd like an idiot, and I would say that if he was here, because I'm thinking the dude's dead, and his skin all hanging off his arms. It's like, now, starting with Mark Elliott and ending with Stephen, what bonehead wouldn't wear a jacket? Right?
And we've talked about it. It's cheap insurance.
No doubt, man.
I just know, Mark, that how this sport has progressed so much with the speed and the horsepower and the action, safety has to follow along with that too, or we're all just pissing in the wind.
Yeah. Well, and we're so far. There's so much low-hanging fruit. When I go to derbies, I don't know what I'm going to say to these kids because I'm going to open those remarks at 10 a.m. And I got to try to keep it PG because I get pissed off because I go to derbies to announce the derbies. When I see a cage bar fall out, I'm like, rip their stick off. If that bar fell out, that ain't the last bar that's falling out. Like, what the hell did you weld that with?
JB.
Yeah, we've been there. I can't stress enough to people to gusset their cages.
Everywhere. Gussets everywhere.
Yes.
And grind them, deburr them. Like,
yes.
Well,
every time I've ever seen a halo fall out, it just pisses me off.
Yeah, like and scares you. At the same time, at Metal Mayhem or Spring Explosion, one went flying out towards the crowd like a boomerang and hit Nick King in the head. Now he's an official standing there on the wall with blood running down the back of his neck.
Maybe, man, I'm going to get crucified to say this, but maybe, look at NASCAR. Pit crew guys from NASCAR now wear helmets. And they've always wore fire fire suits. But maybe we need to take safety into the officials as well.
Bare minimum safety. Guys, I say this, and I'm public enemy number one. Bare minimum. We're talking, and you're not wrong. We're talking helmets. Let's start with safety glasses. We're so far off on some things. It's just like, and it could be negligence. It could be carelessness. It could be that I had them in the truck and forgot them, and I don't give a damn.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I've stood on the wall a lot. And it was usually in a pair of jeans, boots, and a sleeveless shirt.
And a hat. No glasses.
Hey.
There's anymore in this game. There's so much shit that can happen. Drive shafts flying into the crowd, rear bumpers getting blowed off of cars and flying into the crowd. Or I still don't think it's landed yet.
And people
Wicked.
don't want to listen to anybody about safety, but you take somebody like Mr. Elliott here that has seen everything. I mean, how many derbies have you been to? You can't count it. And they don't want to listen to somebody that's seen all of that.
Yep.
It drives me nuts.
Well, so us three could sit here and say they need to and should start doing this, they as in promoters. I don't know if you guys know something different than I do, but those promoters don't have a line of people standing in line that want to even work on that side of the fence, let alone stand on the wall. So it's not like there's 250 qualified wall officials and they get to pick their favorite 8. They're lucky to have 6 that came, and to just connect some dots there, we even have a team of compact and full-size cadet officials. So Frankie Guy has a group message of some sort. So instead of somebody calling Frankie for a rule question, they do, but then he forwards it to this group of officials and these kids that are overqualified to be a cadet driver, or maybe they are not a driver and they just want to be an official, because that's okay too. But they answer these questions, and then Frankie just doesn't let them make uneducated or bad decisions. Well, wait a minute. Maybe Frankie would make the uneducated or bad decision. Oh, I know he's listening, and he knows how real I am. But and then they'll be on the wall with headsets, flags, and they will all have a guide, an adult guide that's there to not let them get ran over or punched in the mouth. But the sport has to. We not only got to groom the funnel of drivers, but on the right path. But we need more officials. We need more promoters. We need more of all these things because of that life cycle where those folks, we all just come and go, and somebody's got to be there to take the torch.
We have said since we've started this, youth is the future of this sport, and without that, this sport is going to die. But what I like about what you guys are doing with that, I talked to you this fall, and say Cam Penwell. Cam's not going to drive all his life, but it might be something that he runs and he does it. It's in his blood, and then it's time to move to the tech side, and then it's time to move to the promotion side. So if these kids can't, you guys are teaching them how to transition from driving to teching to officialing, because I'm sure Cam would probably be one of those over cadets that'll be on a wall. Probably the same thing with maybe a CJ Klein, something like that, where those kids are actually moving farther than just driving, running, and building.
Yeah, both of those kids have both participated in that, in past years. And, you know, this year one of our officials is Landon Hiley, Toby's son, and Toby's daughter, Liberty, is running her first Derby as a cadet. But to your point, and soak that in, how freaking amazing is that? But to your point, man, I'll use Scotty Drebnick, the Iceman, as an example. When he was an official for the first time for us as a cadet official, he never looked at an inspection the same based on maybe the way he talked or treated or read rules, or, you know, I'm not saying that he's still not a Derby driver and doesn't push things, but it gave him a perspective that he never had before.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, you know, I'm looking at this dickhead sitting next to me, that what he would say going through a, you know, maybe a tech line would be different once he stood in those officials and tech line guys' boots. So as long as they can take that with how they should, that's going to progress.
Why do you think I get a stick all the time?
Well, yeah. Well, I got this rule that when you go to inspection, they're going to tell you something that you don't like. So at that point, it's your job to go back and fix it and bring it back and make them wish that they just let you keep what you had before.
Yep. Yes.
Leverage, you know, it's like,
or get so good at doing what you do that they just give you a stick on the first shot every time.
Yeah, then you know you're screwed. Oh man, but no, just bringing. I went there a little bit. I had to reel myself in when I just kind of stopped after I said Landon and Liberty Hiley, and I had to reel myself in. Now, Toby is one of my great friends, but take that away. Like when I think about Brent Clemens, I talked to when we were out in Wisconsin, or Bob Whitaker's kids, or just to think about these drivers that you watch and respect on the track, and to think that like they are going to help fill that funnel, and that you get to share that once in a lifetime experience with their family, to have their child be on, to go from Power Wheels to cars. I mean, I remember when Toast, Vince Olivas, which sound like RCR was a great Derby this weekend, I remember when Colton, he ran Power Wheel and the Expo in the same year.
Wow.
Just like scratch your head on that.
Well, you know, when you sit there and you talk about, you know, Toby Hiley's kids are doing all this stuff, you know, River City, yesterday, the youth class, you know, how many people are driving like dad? How many these kids are driving like uncle? Because, you know, we can talk about Keaton Snarb winning the Mad Dog. Well, how many of those does his dad have?
Right.
You know, so Toby doing what he's doing and what he has done for so long, are you foreseeing maybe one of his kids going to be able to just slide right in them shoes?
I mean, Landon ran last year. I think Landon got second or third, but he was a chip off the old block. And watching him out there navigate, and it's like you really know that they're just a natural. When you don't see them looking at the passenger, they're on their own navigation GPS plan, and he looked good, and that was his first Derby. So, you know, I thought he would be back this year, but now he's an official. And his older sister, Liberty, who I think this would be her last year, she would be able. So, heck, who knows? Maybe this is all part of Toby's plan. Landon's going to come participate in inspection this year. Then he's going to come back next year before he's out of age for his second run, and he's going to have the recipe. I don't know. Well, who knows? Toby's always thinking.
Well, it was cool to sit there with Toby, you know, while we were down at Freedom Hall, and actually getting a side of Toby that a lot of people don't get to see. And because Tobe's, how does everybody put it? Tobe's not one of those guys who does a lot of talking. But if you give him enough liquid courage, He'll talk, and he was talking shit about maybe not pulling a car down for Bash for Cash and just welding it where it was at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he did. Yeah. And I texted both him and Dustin that night, like, hey, motherfuckers, let's remember that story the way it goes, because when he said I ain't running the Crown Vic, I'm like, the hell you ain't. And he's like, I ain't. I said, if I fix it, will you run it? He said, yeah. So I took the car and left. I went over to Siopa's rollback. He never seen the car again. I took it over to Todd Siopa's rollback, and I thought I was going to break the bed in half on that thing. It would not come down. So, after an hour dicking around, I'm like, you know what, boys? This time $1 a rock. Let's work with what we got here, because it was flipped up in front of the A-arms like as if God himself done it, and it's right against the front plates there. And what are you gonna do? So hell, we took I don't even know if I did put a radiator in it. I don't even remember the details, but I told him when he seen that car, he looked at me like, "Are you freaking serious, Mark?" I said, "Listen, you've already went to war in the heat. Nobody gonna mess with you. The car looks like crap. It's a rock. Go out there, drive your Derby, and there you'll be." Plan A was him go win the Derby. Toby's plan A, as soon as the feature started, off he went. He went to find the priors. That what the hell? And he got in an all-out war, and it was a rock, man. He tore some stuff up with it, but I don't remember what place he got, but I'll never forget the look on his face, after he had slave drive on his wagon all day, and he's thinking I'm over there, his car's going to look brand new and all this, and he looked at it, and he's like, "Seriously, Mark?"
Seriously, Tobe.
yeah. Seriously. That was good. So many great memories. That just hearing them talk about that, I caught a little bit of your guys' live. I seen you there taping, and it takes you back, man. And it's like, you forget about all the freaking bull crap and all the bitching that I get so tired of hearing. And when you think about that, it's like, yeah, that's why we're a part of it, because of stuff like that.
Well, when you announced that the Unified Point Series was going away, the ME 527 stuff was going away, we've always said that Derby drivers never fully retire. Sometimes they just step back, kind of get their wind, get their breath, get a little bit of rejuvenation going on. So I was really hoping that the 527 announcing stuff was going to come back, and it did. You're not doing near what you did, but what do you got, 5 shows, 6 shows, something like that?
Well, I keep saying 10, but it's like a Derby driver's tape measure. I think it's probably closer to 15. But it's 10. But no, it's half the schedule. And I guess when you're in something, you never realize what it's doing to you. And without that point series on top of me, I feel like I'm on vacation. Now this expo has got me a little stressed, a week out. But, I know that. I've always said, you say you're not going to a Derby and the wind blows and you're going to the Derby, like, I know, and I've lived that. I believed it. I would never say something like that if I didn't 100% believe it. So, like, I'm still trying to process what that looks like, because I'm kind of have to relearn what to do, because I created a process based on everything that I did before, and now I don't show up and hang up all these point series banners, and I don't do all this stuff, and I don't have people in my ear pissed off because they did or didn't get points. None of that stuff's on my plate, so I just feel like I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs, like I got to learn how to be an announcer again. But I did when we first had our daughter, like, I did the same thing then. So I'm still trying to figure this out myself, but I did the same thing then with driving, and then I didn't drive a car again. Like, I kind of closed out and sold my stuff in 2010, 11. And then in 2015, somebody talked me into running. That's when I started announcing. So I announced and ran that Derby. And then, heck, I never built another car until 2019, I never built a car from 2010 Arkansas Razorback Rumble Team Show to 2019 River City Rampage. And at that time, our daughter had never seen me derby, so it was like, okay, I'll do this. But my point in sharing that is at that time, it felt like I got to do some things different because now I'm a dad. Mm-hmm. Well, when we found out that we were going to be grandparents, it's like everything in my mind is focused on that. And I made that decision to shut things down. I truly believed that until I realized 2 months for me seemed like 2 years when I'm running every weekend. Some people may go 2 months from show to show or 5 months, but 2 months felt like I retired for 2 years. Yes. So then it's like this eye opener that, wow, you were running yourself ragged, and here we are today. And we went and seen our granddaughter yesterday, and we got another one coming in September. And man, life's really good for me right now, and I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well, I am so glad that you decided to kind of, you got rejuvenated a little bit. You took a whole lot off your plate. Now there's just a few things that you have to actually really concentrate on, minus work, because what a lot of people don't think is that you have a regular job. You have a weekly job.
Yeah, right. There's that.
Plus daughters, and plus being now grandparents. So the sport doesn't want to lose you. And if they can get a little bit of you, that's way better than none of you.
That's what I took for granted. I always think I appreciate people and embrace things, but until you start getting videos from people of their kids crying or like that cut me hard of I really had no idea what I actually meant to be there. I get it. That I guess I just didn't get it. I still say I get it, but I guess I don't truly get it, and I don't know how to show my appreciation for that besides just saying it.
Well, Mr. Mark, we have May 10th, Preble County Fairgrounds, Eaton, Ohio, starting Saturday morning. I have graduation. I do not get to make the trip over. I'm going to try everything possible. If you guys have it in 2026, we'd like to come over and try to be a part of that as well, because anytime it is youth, we are all about it. So, sir, I hope everything goes as great as you can possibly get it for next Saturday. Everything goes off without a whim, and everybody has a good time, learns, and just has a blast.
Amen to that, man. Amen to that. Thank you so much. Are we closing?
We're closing for you, sir.
Awesome. You guys, thank you guys for what you do, because it takes effort. It all takes effort, and there's days where you're like, I gotta do that. Thank you guys.
Mark, we will see you down the road, sir. I guarantee you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Take care, guys.
Later, buddy.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, anybody that was curious about the Derby Expo, right there.
What is cool is how they do. Usually they have schedules, kind of how the learning's going to go. One of the biggest 03 and up builders, Billy Easto.
Yep.
He'd have a class.
Uh-huh.
Toast would have a session for a class for suspension and all that stuff. So what these guys are doing for these kids, that's giving them a leg up on their competition, in my opinion, if they're going to take all that stuff in instead of just hopefully dad knows that, hopefully uncle knows that, hopefully older brother knows that.
Well, I can guarantee you that a few of these kids that have attended this went through these seminars.
That's what I would
That
call them.
work?
Sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that some of them went back and taught Dad something.
Yeah, Dad. Hey, I paid attention here.
Now look at this. I took
This
notes.
this isn't normal school. I'm not having to read shit. This is what I like.
Maybe we can pull that top A arm out just a touch. Get some geometry going on. Here.
Dad be like, what the fuck you mean geometry?
Hey, you know what? We can take this A arm, and if we use our two fix-it plate, or if we use our two straps right here, you can also beat the center of this down. You know, I mean,
Oh, yes.
they're stuffing things.
Yes.
But anyway,
Thank you, Mark, for getting on.
100%. Everybody, if you got time next weekend, go check that shits out.
Yeah, especially if you're in Indiana, Ohio,
Yeah.
Eastern Illinois,
Yes.
Pennsylvania, go get it. You can't miss it. It's
Right.
right on 70. You see it. Preble County Fairgrounds.
Yep.
Right there. We got to, well, I got to, I went to Griggsville yesterday.
Yeah, we did a little divide and conquer. I watched.
You
RCR.
watched all the RCR stuff, which I didn't. My day was spent at a golf tournament, then hauled ass an hour and a half, and killer
the bull
show.
ring, baby.
But the Bird City Bull Ring never disappoints. We've talked about that. It is just insane what we have actually got to see there the last few years.
Yes. Well, first off, Austin is no stranger to that place.
Correct?
I mean, dude's been going there forever.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a badass, smaller venue. Cool track.
Yep.
It's long.
Long.
There's lots of real estate on the lake side.
Yep. Youth. They started with mowers. Mowers got completely retarded, as they do.
Right.
The stock side just never disappoints. Bring out with the youth. Wow.
Griff.
Wow.
I think it's about time to go up, Griff.
Yeah, and stay up. And stay up. But what was cool is that Brooks Holcomb got the win. Brooks made the last hit, and it died. Griff's car died right in front of me. And I can see him reaching for the crank, and I never saw smoke. So I don't know if he maybe just starter wire or something, hot wire. Austin Johnson, got 4 nominations to the Frankie Guy Youth Nationals yesterday alone. Brooks Holcomb, Griffin Schoonover, Kenley Eves, and the other kid, I think he's a new kid. I think he got 4th. And I apologize, I cannot remember this kid's name. But they sent 4. Griff was standing right there next to me, and he's like, I looked at Austin. I said, you know, when we talked to Griff about a year and a half ago, that was his bucket list show, is to go to the Frankie Guy Youth Nationals. And Austin started laughing. He said, yeah, you are right. And I looked at Griff, and I said, so? He goes, gonna have to talk to Dad. You know, so just go to our Facebook page. You can see the reels.
And like we've talked with Griff, that Frankie Guy Youth National show being a little bit harder build than what we're used to seeing these youth guys in around here, I think Griff will slide right into it.
Yep. And I told Griff, I said, here's the thing. I said, it's about 4 hours farther west than it was the last few years. I said, so Frankie's kind of bringing it this way to make it a little bit closer for those Midwest guys, for the California guys, for the Utah guys. I mean, 4 or 5 hour drive is a little bit less than 4 or 5 more. You know what I'm saying? But give it up to those kids. They, like I said, they run their balls off. The 9 class, that was a little short. Brock and Tyler doing Brock and Tyler. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, so
which those dudes never disappoint.
Nope. And Hobo Compacts, 28 of them on the track yesterday. And oh my God, God. Wide open. It took them about 6.5 seconds for one person to absolutely ruin everybody's day, because in about that 6 seconds, I heard the throttle wide open, and it never stopped until they were either in limp mode or completely jumped. Completely jumped.
Well, and I mean, that's one that I don't mind watching, you know.
Yep. Yeah. Mini trucks, SUVs. Garrett Baker.
Oh, we've heard that name before.
Yep. Pulling off, dude. We've said this so many times. We never in our wildest dreams thought we talked about how hard a minivan is or a Chevy Trailblazer.
Right.
You don't think about that shit.
Trailblazers are gay.
But, man, when they are hard bastards up front.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Nobody wants to drive one.
No, it's kind of like 03s. You don't drive them bitches in reverse. You go that way.
Well, it's like a moped, kind of.
Moped or a fat girl?
Funny ride. You just don't want your friends to see you doing.
Full-size hobo. Griff went in and fixed his stuff.
No, I can't believe that.
Yep. Come back out. We had Jaden Heavner, which we didn't get to see for about half of last year because they were busy having a baby. We saw Harley Miller. We saw Tommy Hill. We saw Gary Robinson. You had some Howlands. You had a perfect mixture to get crazy. And get crazy they did. Jaden pulled off the win. Come down to him. Harley. Gary Robinson. Tommy Hill. And Griff Schoonover.
Justin Hill?
Justin Hill was there.
Was he?
Yep, Justin. I had to fuck with him a little bit. I
seen
said,
him in
hey.
a car for
I
a
said, I
minute.
thought you was retired. No.
Retarded.
I just took a little time off. So, he did give me some info. I'm not going to blow that out right now of what's going on until it comes closer to that time when those team lists are announced. But, wow.
Yeah.
One of the last times that we talked about Griggsville and Jaden and Harley, there was some beef there. It got squashed on that track. And what was so cool is those two dudes were working together till the end.
Right.
And both of them, what a lot of people is not used to seeing is, he's going to kill me for this. Jaden is not known to be the first one to turn it up.
Right.
Jaden was in Porkchop's car with Porkchop's motor. Whoo, that bitch sounds good. Jaden was giving us all the RPMs, as well as Harley. So to see them, what transpired last year to what happened last night, I commend them dudes. That's where you can kind of stick your pride to the side, realize, hey, better friends than foes, and then we'll figure it out at the end.
Sometimes it just makes sense.
Yep. G-Rob come plumb out of both rear tires. Tires still stayed on the wheels, but they were not really moving at the same rate of speed as the wheels were. I was trying to get Austin on before the show. That didn't happen. So we are going to try to get him lined up before Pleasant Hill. P Hill is actually in June. That's the second go on the Domination Motorsports Southern Number 9 Tour. Man, this summer is going to be killer. It was spoke about last night. There's a very, very, very good chance that we will be live at Pleasant Hill in June. They don't have a pay-per-view guy anymore for there. We're still working on some stuff for the September show that was talked about yesterday. So we are if all goes good with cell phone service and all that stuff, you will be able to watch Pleasant Hill Summer Derby live on our Facebook page. You can still go to All For Him Racing videos on YouTube. You can watch his hardest hits of 2024. You can still go to Triple B's Tees to get all your shirt and hoodie needs. You can still go to Broadhead Decals, which Keaton Snar will be rocking some.
Yes, sir.
Rocking some Broadhead Decal door wraps. DerbyNation.tv.
Yes.
For all your camera angles. You can go back and watch that shit.
I got to see all of them.
All of them. Because there was a lot of them.
And never once got rained on.
I did a little bit. You did not. I mean, unless
Nope.
you had a big hole through your fucking ceiling, which I don't think you did. So, brother man, I know you are getting ready to cut loose and head to work.
Yep.
So, got any last words?
Nope.
Make junk, boys.
DerbyNation.tv is your one-stop shop for your Demolition Derby pay-per-view needs. With a schedule like no other, you can catch all the shows you want to watch at the touch of a button from the comfort of your living room without leaving your house. But pay-per-view derbies aren't the only thing that they can get you. You can also carry a monthly subscription to watch the ever-growing Derby Builds, where you get all the behind-the-scenes action on different build processes with the Derby Builds team, including team show cars and even some national-level youth builds.
And if you can't make it to that big show in person, go ahead, host that shop watch party, and let DerbyNation.tv bring excitement of Demolition Derby action straight to your shop live on your TV.